Okay, okay, here we are. It's Sunday morning, and we're on the Sumida Terrace walk. We're heading up north, and we're heading towards the sky tree there. And today we're going to cross. We're going to cross the Yanagibashi right there, that bridge. We're going to cross that, and then we're going to go up, and we're going to go Asakusabashi. We're going to do a neighborhood walk this morning. We're going to go up the river. We're going to look at a few things. One of the things we're going to look at, I'm going to redo. Yesterday I did the mosaics, but it didn't come out very well. So I'm going to redo that, and so we're going to redo that. And then we're gonna go up, walk up, look at a few more things walking up the river, and then we're gonna go and walk through the Asakusabashi neighborhood. So we'll be off of the walk, the terrace walk on this side, the Koto Ward side. You can see it's clear, few high clouds. Temperatures are actually a little bit lower. It's about 26 this morning, and definitely lower humidity. So we definitely have lower humidity and 26 degrees. Very pleasant. Very, very, very pleasant. I'm out a little bit earlier, but I don't think it's making a difference with the temperature. It's just it's a little, just that slightly bit cooler today, but definitely not cool. Definitely not cool. So we're going to be heading up the stairs here in just a second. And before that, I'm going to have to. I'm going to erase some stuff so I make sure I don't run out. So I'm going to shut this off. Get up the stairs here. I'm going to shut this off for a second, and then we'll be back. Just a moment. We're done with that. We're back. There's the bridge. Give you a nice view of the bridge before we cross it. And yeah, it's looking real nice today. Just looking up Kiyosumi Dori right there. Okay, there we go. Really nice morning. Nice lights early. Just out a little bit earlier today, and real quiet. The river's a bit choppy, but it's less windy, but it's windy, and there's enough wind. Let me show you here. Let's just stop here. I'm going to pan. One of these days I'm going to learn how to pan slow enough. So I'm going to try to do that slowly enough so that I don't jerk you. There we go. We're looking down the river there. There we go. Okay, that's the on the right, that brown building is the Yomiuri Shimbun. That's the newspaper building. The lower floors, it's residential, and you can see there's IBM Japan is the white building on the right. Further, not the smaller one. That's a little residential building. Then we're looking down the river, and we'll swim back around. And then we're going to continue crossing the river here. Yeah, I love this light. It's just so nice. So nice. And we're heading towards Hakozaki That's the Hakusaki neighborhood in front of us here on the Chuo Ward, Chuoku side of the bridge. Excuse me there. There we go. Yeah, you can see it's real quiet. Nobody's out yet. And it's Sunday morning, maybe not that many people. Fewer people might be out this morning. But look at that light, so nice. Just love it. Just love this light. Wish the sun would just stop like this. We stayed this way all day long. Could just stay like this, 26 degrees like this. 26, 27 degrees. You could do this forever. And life would be perfect. For some reason, life refuses to cooperate. But we have these moments in life where life is pretty good. Let me just back up here. Let me just show you. Here's a placard for the bridge. Turn this down here. There we go. Placard tells us that the bridge was constructed in 1928. In March of 1928, it was completed. But that just talks about a little bit about the history of the bridge. There, at any rate. So there. And now we'll head over down. There we go. Sun's we're gonna get a little bit of sun here. The heron yeah, the birds are not. The birds, maybe were out partying last night too, because they're definitely not out yet. And like I say, maybe they knew it was Saturday night and maybe they had a good time. The young ones there had a good time as well. And we'll see. So now we're getting a little bit of glare here. Try to keep that just a little bit on the left side here to avoid the worst of the glare. I'm going to be around the corner, and you can see there's right in front of us is Skytree. There you go. There we go. I think I like that. Let's get over to the left here. This guy, this runner. We have about 1.9 times. A little bit different perspective than yesterday. I'm going to try that. Much above 2. And the quality of the picture drops a little bit. Now coming up here on the left, I see those nice benches still. It's kind of like a little bit of a park kind of feeling here. You got along the wall there, the vegetation along there. You come up and down, and it's just different. You know, along the walk here, there's just different feel. Like here, you got the flower beds in this part. Some parts have less or different stuff. All of this is all Chuo Ward on this side. You have to go quite a ways up. We're going to go up into Taito Ward, and we'll show you where we're going to cross into Taito Ward. And we're going to stop in just a minute here and look at these and look at these mosaics that have the Edo era depiction. I see it on the right there. You see those boats. I talked about this yesterday. Those are police. Those are emergency boats. So that's for fire and emergency situation, help, any kind of help that people need, that kind of stuff. So now we've got right here, so it's a little, oh, there's a heron right there. There you go. There's one right there. You see that? There we go. Good morning, buddy. How you doing this morning? There we go. How you doing? Okay. Let's swing this around. Okay, we got a bit of I'm gonna come in. Look at, let's see. There we go. Right there, that's the first one there. You see there's an Edo era depiction there. We just got a pan here, and we've got another. It's like a, is that a river scene or is that an ocean scene? Right there, it's quite nice. Okay, you go here, you got a good shot of that. Here. This is definitely a town scene. This certainly would have been nearby here. Let's get a bit closer there. There you go. And drawing a horse in a down a street. It looks like a stairway. That might be like stairs to the river or something. Here's definitely a I think that's Shino-Ohashi. It says Shino-Ohashi. That is the bridge right up here, just a moment, but that's clearly would have been an Edo era depiction there. And here's another. Don't ask me why that swung around like that. I didn't ask that. Okay. There we go. There's another. Again, another Edo era town scene. There. Here's a river. And as you can see, there's Mount Fuji is shown there. He's certainly in the Edo era. In fact, till recently, you could have seen Mount Fuji. Now it's just impossible to see unless you're high up, just because there's so many buildings now. And there's an upper class woman in front of the river and the bridge. There. Again, here's another Edo era street scene. Got some monks, a couple of monks. There, one is taking alms. Let's see if we can see that. Good. Yeah, okay, there you go. You can see the monk in blue taking alms. Oh, you don't see that here. Buddhist monk. Oh, if you're in, when I'm in Bangkok, the monks are going around there every day taking alms. So that's a common scene there now. That's something you don't see on the street. You'll see monks occasionally on the street, but not like this. And they don't really get alms in the street. They have other ways of getting money. And here's another the dock along the river, and somebody rowing. A couple, maybe a samurai couple. And we've got right here, we've got, there we go, another river scene, and that's probably Shino-Ohashi. And one more street scene right there. Okay, there we go. Street scene. And we swing around. And we're going to show you, bring this up. Bring this up because right in front of us now is let's see, let's get this. There we go. Now up straight ahead there is Shino-Ohashi. Bridged in literally the new big bridge. That's what the literal meaning of that is. Got on the left, you can see the expressway there. Overhead. Fair bits, stretches of the walk. You'll have up here as we get up close to Asakusa and Asakusabashi, those kind of neighborhoods. Now the expressway will run along the river for good lengths of it. So see the park on the left, that's for dogs. People can let their dogs run loose in the park. People think about this kind of stuff, you know. It's nice. One of the things that's nice here is how people think about this kind of stuff. You know, accommodate these kinds of needs, and so yeah, we're going to cross under the bridge. We've got more murals up here on this. There's a lot of murals and other different things up and down the river that are quite interesting. That guy kind of sleeping off I don't know if he's a homeless person. He's certainly sleeping off a hangover there or something. Yeah. At any rate, I don't know if we got that we caught that in the film here, but we'll see. Now look, you see you got the walkway, got the stone. See the stone now and the walkway here. It varies a lot. There's a lot of variation. This is a real nice stretch here. And we've got more Edo era depictions. The Tokaido, let's see, Nihon. This is supposed to be Nihonbashi. It says Nihonbashi. There, the Tokaido. Talks about the Tokaido, the stand. Of course, the Nakasendo goes north, the Tokaido goes south. So that's showing Nihonbashi back in the Edo era. And we've got this here. A bit of artwork there. This is just some kind of school. This is some kids stuff they put up on the wall here. There you go. Kids' drawings. And then we got another depiction. This is Edo. Let's see. That is again Nihonbashi. And you can see, yeah, let me get that. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, we can see Yanagibashi there. So you got these kind of historical depictions on the walls here. Oh God. Something. Depiction, another Edo era depiction along the river here. This is kids' grade school mosaic. There we go. Let's see. Another Edo era depiction there. That's Edo era. And let me, I'm going to swing back just so you can see what the scene, what it looks like here. It's very nicely done, kind of. There you go. Okay. See how that looks. There you go. And bring that up. And swing it around. Let's swing it around and give you the view of the river. In the shade from those residential towers there, we're going to continue heading up the river. Don't have too much more to go before we get to Asakusabashi. A bit of traffic, people coming, a lot of inbound. You'll look, that's kind of more inbound. So you'll see that the flow of the traffic is generally much more inbound into the city. This is an expressway that's suburb. People probably coming in from the suburbs into the city. It's not a work day, it's Sunday, so a nice day to be out. As you can see, not many people out this morning. And like I said, the birds seem to have taken the day off. Maybe like I said, the birds seem to be resting as well on Sunday here. So coming up on one of these little kind of house design, like it's like the shape of a house. It doesn't protect anything. It's just an artistic kind of thing. There's some more murals coming up on the left here, left side. We'll take a look at it. Okay, let's see what this is here. That is, that's Meiji era. This is a Meiji era depiction of the city. Art from kids there. Yeah, mix your kids' art, Edo era stuff. Here's definitely. Let's see. The palace. Kyobashi. That's in the Kyobashi area. So this is Meiji Hachinen, 1870s depiction This is 1870s, and again, that's Kyobashi. So that is near more the city center, but in Chuo-ku. So this is kind of depictions in present-day Chuo-ku, or kids' art there. Kyobashi. That's Kyobashi. Yeah. Yanagibashi. This is Yanagibashi. Now that's where we're going to. Yanagibashi is just right up. Maybe it's not. It says talk. Oh, it's the Kyobashi Museum. It's the Kyobashi. Kyobashi. Okay, that's where these depictions are. That's what this is. So that's what that is. This is Yanagibashi, which we're going to cross a few minutes here. This is an Edo here, and they're telling you it's the 1832 to 1834 depiction. That's on Ryogoku. That's Ryogoku. Bashi. Ryogoku is where the sumo wrestling takes place. That's people know from that. And our kids, school, some kind of anniversary there. Another depiction from Ryogoku. Another image of Ryogoku in Edo era. This would have been from the what is the Sumida Ward. That would be Sumida Ku side, looking across the bridge towards Fuji-san, Mount Fuji. And we're going to swing around because we got a lot of bird ass. See, these are these ducks. Let's go in there, see that? There's ducks there, they're hanging out. I usually don't see so many of them in one spot, but there they are. They're great divers. Those guys, those are real divers. They are do serious diving. Great fishers. They're some of the best bird fishers. They're that species. What they do is they dive under, and they'll stay under for like 20 seconds or more. Some of these others, they like the gulls and the heron, just skim the surface. They don't go in. But these guys are serious about it. They actually dive under, and great swimmers. They have a great ability to fish. It gives them a real leg up, because they'll spend all their time in the rivers and canals here trying to get fish, because of their ability to dive. So here we are. We're coming up. Look at that nice little, what do you call, not a gazebo, but at any rate, and you can see there's just subtle changes as you go up and down the river. It's just differences in the pavement changes in that it gives a unique feel almost everywhere where you are along the river. Gives you a unique feel. So and we are at the northern end now of Chuo-ku. We're going to cross almost in Taito-ku, Taito Ward. I haven't been up here for a while, so I'm kind of looking forward to you know, you come up and you want to see how the city has changed, or for some of the older buildings, hopefully it hasn't changed, or at least if it's changed for the better, that the buildings are getting renewed and whatever. So, happens less often, but sometimes you see that. So yeah, we got a nice flower bed here on the left. Look at that. You know, and nobody's going to touch it. Nobody's going to touch it. Nobody's going to come and rip all the flowers out and, you know, nonsense like that. They're just going to leave it alone so everybody can enjoy it. Who, you know, when people are civilized, you can have a lot of nice things. So there you go. You know, it's you know, every culture has its advantages and disadvantages, but certainly one of the things that I see here is this kind of public space is respected. There's a lot of, as you can see, look, there's no garbage, paper, junk. Sometimes you'll see it in kids. Kids are kids everywhere. Kids are irresponsible everywhere. They're less irresponsible here perhaps in other places, but you know, they're going to be more irresponsible. They're just, you know, young people. It's just the way it is. That's kind of a universal situation, but it's less here. It is less. Now we're going to come up. This is the end of the walk. Here you got to come off of the walkway. In fact, we're going to do that, and we're going to cross Yanagibashi and into, I think this is still Chu. Oh no, we're in Sumida. No, the Sumida Gawa. No, I thought we were going to tell we're in Sumida Ku is on the other side. And the interesting thing is that, and I just didn't figure this out until recently, Sumida Ku and Sumida Gawa, the Sumi is a different, the Sumida Ku Gawa is an ink, is black, is black ink, meaning Sumida, the black, not black ink, but black land, where Sumida Gawa is, I don't know what that Sumi, that kanji character means. Forgive me for that. I'm gonna come up on the stairs here, and there in front of us is Yanagibashi. We gotta find out what bridge that is. Let me just look up the river here. It's a very interesting. You got all these very colorful, very scene. Let me just put that down. Oh, there we go. Isn't that a pretty scene? We'll get a good view of all these boats that are anchored here. This part of the this is Kandabashi. So this is indeed Kandabashi, and this is Yanagi. I'm sorry, the Kanda River. It's the Kandagawa. Let me shut this off for a second. Here. And we're back. Here's a placard for Yanagibashi, and it talks about the, let's see, the bridge, there was the initial bridge, 1698. It talks a little bit about the history, what the bridge was built out of, a little bit about that. Then it talks about the Edo era, history of the bridge. Let's see, I think it's 1929. Where? Let me see it. I don't think it says that there, but that is there. Here's another Yanagibashi, 1923, that talks about the earthquake there, and It's another, yeah, Deutsch Rhine. So the Rhine River Bridge, the Rhine River Bridge that it is, it says Aitai-bashi design, Aitai-bashi design, so it's similar to Aitai-bashi 1929. So it says 1929 is when this bridge was built. So again, German design. We talked about that. Let's come here so you can see a good view of the bridge here. Back up so you can get a good view. There we go. There's the there we go. And a nice little 1920s area. There is real sturdy kind of feel. Nice, quiet little bit. There's not a lot of treads, not especially here on Sunday. But again, 1920s era, survived the war, all of that. Now, here's what's interesting here. A couple of interesting things here. Let's look at that. Isn't that pretty? This is Kanda Gawa. There. All the boats that are anchored. I remember the last time I came, that red boat. It looks a little bit more faded than the last time. Now, here's an interesting thing. You'll see the name here. The name there. Okay, so you'll see that it's Ko. It's the Komatsuya. So Komatsuya, that's the name of the company, and then you'll come across on the other side here, and there's another Komatsuya. And the interesting thing is that they're actually different companies. Yukari and I checked this out once. They're actually different companies. That one sells a scudane, a fish, and on that side, and this side of the company is I think they're in the boat business, kind of. But it's a different business. They're in different businesses, and what's interesting is that they have the same name, clearly same family. And the reason is that you can have the same company name in a different city. And so these are different cities. On the right side is Taito-ku, and on the left side is Chuo-ku. So they're allowed to have the same name. And one of the things is you go to the websites and they'll pretend like the other one doesn't exist. So it's kind of interesting. You can take the fisher boats, and these are party boats and fishing. From here, so the boats are anchored here, and they go out on the river and ply their trade. I think they've had a hard time the last couple of years because of but they're hopefully these people aren't out of business. But at any rate, this is a very colorful scene along the Kandagawa, and we're crossing the river, and on the bridge here into Taito ward, Taito-ku. And we've got a number of mostly newer buildings, but this one's a fairly new building right in front. That's just kind of the way it is. Let's see here. I think this looks like a demolition that's happened since the last time that I was in this neighborhood. It's been about a year or so. I think is that? Let me See, I might be wrong, but I'm thinking that that's the case. Let's walk up this street. One of the things you can see is how the streets are narrow. It's very dense. This has historically been the most dense ward in the city. Prior to the earthquake, it was definitely by far the densest, heavily populated, real residential center of the city. And this is a very dense neighborhood. This is Yanagibashi, is the name of the district here. Let's see. Try to just get my bearings. As I say, it's been a while since I've come through this neighborhood. But you can see it's a lot of newer buildings, but different ages of buildings. Some of these 70s, 80s, some very recent, some older buildings. A real mix. I would say that here, what's interesting about this particular neighborhood is that the buildings, there's kind of architectural integrity. It's kind of hard to describe, but what I mean by that is that the buildings themselves are there's a kind of respect for the architecture of surrounding buildings. So there's that happens. Here you don't see, it's kind of less of what you would call a jumbled mess. Let's see here. We got a couple of post-war, couple early post-war buildings that are still here. These guys on the nice little Jinja shrine there, right there. See that? Those two houses, those are post-war. That's a post-war style, but to see the way the roofs are turned. The early 20th century, your traditional style is the roofs face into the street, and the post-war, that style changed and they turned like that. So that's one of the ways that you can tell, at least for these, not always, but for example, buildings like these are definitely a post-war design. Let's see, I'm looking for, sometimes you come and it just might be gone, We'll see. Like I say, I have to get my bearings on the neighborhood where I'm at exactly. Because it's been a little while. I've walked around here a lot, so this is certainly a familiar neighborhood to me, but let's see. Oh, okay. No. Yeah, here we go. It's still here. Now look at that. Now let's open that up. Interestingly enough, that is I think that's definitely a post-war building, but there's a pre-war behind it. You can see a little bit of it, that behind it. So that's still here. There's a company that owns this. I think they might even use it as an office. Let me back up here, give you a feel. See how they built up the upper floors there. I think it's post-war, but it's kind of a pre-war, older era design. Then we come around and we can see a little bit more of that. So that building's still there. Every time you come, you just wonder if these buildings are going to be here or not. Oh, I missed it because I already walked down this street, but let's look the gap here. Here we go. We'll be able to see that. See, that is definitely that's a pre-war, because you've got that's a bit of copper cladding. Now you can see where the stripes are. That's the copper cladding's come off. That's where it's been stripped fallen off or stripped off or whatever, because that would have been all copper. That would have been a real pretty building at one time. But that's not the case anymore. But it's still there. It's still there. Say we've got it's a neighborhood with an interesting feel. Very interesting. As I say, it's there's a mixture of old and new, but it's very, very urban, very urban Tokyo. This is very Tokyo. If you want to know, you know, for me, these are the neighborhoods that are real Tokyo. This is real Tokyo. A lot of people talk about, you know, you're on the west side and all that. People think of that as Tokyo, but to me, that's like a new part of the city. It's modern. I mean, it's another world, but this is, and I think a lot of Japanese would feel the same way. This neighborhood, these neighborhoods are Tokyo, the real feel of the city here. Now I'm going to come up because this is the for the JR line. That is the overhead rail line, and this dates from this was actually built in 1932, and you can come up. What's interesting is you got a couple of houses that are still, you know, they're under buildings that are under the. See, there's one right on the right there. That's the building that's under. That, of course, is a recent building, but I'm going to show you a couple of older buildings that are under the walkway. I'm sorry, under the overhead rail line here. So you can see that on the right. Now that should be coming into view. This one in particular is real curious. You see that? Let me, hey, back up a little bit so we get, see that? That is, there's a house. That's a house. I don't know if anybody lives in it. I've seen a woman, see that it's tended, and you can see that, how it's tended there. That's plants are tended. And to show you, because we'll swing around, there's some little art depictions. Oh, there she is. Ohayou gozaimasu. Yeah, there she is. She takes care of the flowers. So the building is, you know, they probably the owners of the building, and I've seen her before tending the building. We cross under here, and this now is this is still Yanagibashi. Okay, so we're still in Yanagibashi, and we're coming up now. There's a cluster of pre-war buildings here, and one of this is they've got these dolls. Yeah, this is definitely your kind of deco, Tokyo deco building, late 20s. You see that style, that design? Very nice. I like the color of the building too. Let me just back up just a little bit. They've got those the dolls, the what do you call it? Imperial family dolls that they manufacture and sell here. But you see the deco era, late 20s, that kind of deco era design there. That's definitely one of Tokyo's, you know, your pre-war building. And then we've got another one. Just let's back up a little bit more. Just give it a little more of a view. There we go. So, then we come here. Here's another. See this building on the left, the white building. That's 1928. This is another 20s era building. It's now become an art gallery. I think these are private showings, but it's some kind of art gallery, and they do private showings of some kind. Here, let me just back up. There, but you see that kind of, you know, kind of deco, brutal architectural style, kind of architectural style. Certainly that kind of pre-war 1920s. I mean, that's what I would call it, with a kind of design there. But I know it was constructed in 1928, and then we come around the corner here, I think on the left. Here, yeah, there we go. This one on the right here, we'll be able to get a view from this parking lot. You see that? That's kind of like it's almost like a Bauhaus. It's really a Bauhaus design. See that? Look up there. You'll see it's back up just a little bit so you can bring that down a little bit. See that? It's Bauhaus style. That's what I would call it. It's from 1929, 1930. It's a restaurant. It's a yakitori, izakaya. What do you call it? And that bowl, iron bowl, hot bowl food. But at any rate, it's a restaurant. We've met the people who run that restaurant once, but it's definitely I think it's 1930, but I would call it definitely a Bauhaus style of architecture. Still here. It's still here. That's a building. That was something was there. I can't. That's gone. That's gone since the last time that I came. Now we got this rather colorful and this Chinese restaurant here. Let me back up. There, you see the Chinese. It's a Chinese restaurant. There you go. And what's interesting there is the this is a copper clad. It's definitely pre-war. It's definitely a pre-war building. Let me see that there, just up in the upper floor there. But that's a Chinese. That's a Chuka. Gyowan Kaku. Definitely Chinese, and I think it's Chinese that run it. I think so. If I recall correctly, I walked by here and people are, and I say Chinese. It could be Mandarin or Cantonese. I have to profess my ignorance there, but I think it's definitely, and sometimes you'll see like Chinese running these older buildings because there is, could be a discrimination issue. But this is copper clad, and that's painted. So that is underneath that white would be the copper. So you'd have, if you strip that off, if you were able to strip that off, you would have the copper underneath. Just come up, see that? Here. Okay. trying to think if there's any other buildings that are real note on this side. This is a part of the city where most of the older buildings are gone. But I'm going to take you now. Let me just check and see what street this is. Yeah, this is Edo-dori. This is Edo-dori. So you've got a few, that's post-war restaurant there. We're at Asakusabashi station on the Asakusa subway line there. So we're going to swing around here. This is the heart of Asakusabashi here. I'm just going to come down the street here because I'm going to show you I think it's 1928, just kind of more for just to show it, show you the building. Nothing special about it other than it's surviving pre-war building. Here on the left, next building in the corner. I think that's it? No, maybe it's the next corner. I forgot what side of the bridge. Unless it's gone? Let me just check here. This is one of those things that I think it's on this side. Yeah, I mean the other side. On the other side there. I want to check and make sure because, sometimes sometimes it's going to happen. Usually, if I take a walk in the neighborhood every time I come and see, I'm looking for if that's not it, then maybe that building is gone. It was it wasn't anything special in terms of architecture, other than it being a older building. I think it's gone. I think maybe that was the location. And oh no. Okay. Here we are. Okay. Is that still here? I think it's 1928. It's got an old restaurant, old building there. Let me just cross the street. That'll give a good feel for it. There we go. I have to swing around here. See that building right there? That's 1928 building. Nothing special. Nothing particularly special about it. Okay, we have to wait until the traffic clears. Here. How we're going to go. This side, this is kind of the part of Asakusabashi that is the heart of the restaurant area here. Quality buildings of great interest right in this immediate area. But there are some interesting buildings along the street here on this side of the overpass, this side of the overhead rail line. Let's see, that's gone. Is that Is that? No. No. Sometimes I want to make sure. Here's a couple of post-war kind of style buildings. Your post-war signboard style right there. That's called English. It's signboard style. I think they fixed that building up. That's a new restaurant. That's something new. Yeah, that's new. That's nice to. It's called Kanban Kenchiku. It's literally a signboard architecture. So that's a very Tokyo style. Very Tokyo style there. So, and a couple of signboard buildings there. And on this side, it's not an old building, but they've got some old, they preserved some old advertising signs. Old ad signs. Right there, you see that? Yeah. It's kind of hard to see with there you got that. It's kind of fading away, but you've got that there. As I say, I think 70s era. Let me check here. Is that? I think there's a. Oh, maybe that's gone. Let me just check. I think maybe there's a building. Yeah, I think there's a building that I think it was maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely one of the building that I kind of liked is gone. Older building, such is life. That's, you usually try not to get too excited about it. I usually try not to get too excited. Let me show you. Oh, no, it's still here. Well, that's nice. Okay, sorry. Now the question that I have, I think this is let me try to back up here. Let me back up. It's a kind of a traditional design, but back up so we get the whole. But it's a post-war, early post-war. There you go. Kind of a cute design. It's a restaurant. It's a tonkatsu restaurant. Signboard building. It's post-war. It's the early post-war, probably 1950s. That's what I would guess. The era, early in the post-war era. Then we've got a pre-war house. You see what's interesting here? See, there's a that's very actively. We can turn around there. There we go. See that where the laundry is hanging? That is a house. That is a real honest to goodness house. So you can see it. See, isn't that interesting? See that? That is a house. And it's definitely that style on the top there. That stonework on the top is definitely a pre-war kind of design. This would have been the question that I would have is, was the house there when this rail line was built? The rail line is, I think, 1932, and it may be that the house was there, but one of the, you say, well, how can somebody live beneath a rail line like that? And the answer is that this is where the trains stop. So the trains are coming to a stop right overhead. So actually, they don't make a lot of noise. So that is how they can manage it. So now we're gonna cross over the other side here. And there's a lot of Let's see. That's a newer building here on the right. I think it's kind of out of character. Well, I might show you when I get a better. It's set back from the street. I don't think it adds the feel of the street as a result. It's kind of yeah, I don't like the feel of it. I think we get a perspective. I'll show you when you can give you a feel for what I'm talking about here. See, this is this kind of Asakusabashi neighborhood feel. The architecture is kind of tight. There's a kind of feeling of tightness in the street. There's an intimate feeling on the street. So there's another early post-war signboard building there. It's a German restaurant, and then there's an entrance for a Vietnamese restaurant there, right there. Again, I wouldn't say it's anything special, but though, you know, it's okay. There you go. Let's see there. Yeah, see that building? See that taller building right there? Yeah, that one. That's the one I was talking about earlier. Boy, it's so quiet. It's nice and quiet Sunday morning in the city. Sunday morning in the city. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There's another post-war, another tonkatsu right there. A couple of older. And you can see the post-war, that style. See the stone, that stonework. Let me just show you. I'll come up and I'll show you, because this is kind of important to understand, like early post-war architecture. This is a ground stone mortar. It was formed, and this is see that? This early post-war that was very poor, and it's kind of like a cement, little stone, kind of like a cement. And if you had any money at all, you use this material for your facade. It was kind of the only, so you can tell that facade has that and you can see, do you see the if you look on the right above the no, don't enter sign, you'll see there's a green. That's definitely a pre-war. Let's see if I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to magnify that so you can see it. There we go. See that? See that? Okay. There we go. See that? That is a pre-war style. That's definitely perhaps even Taito era, really early, maybe 1915 to 1925, somewhere in the Taito era. So that probably was on the previous building. They kept it. Probably the building was damaged in the war, and that's what they kept. You'll see that. Sometimes you'll see those spouts, those rain spouts on a, let's see, I'm going to shut this off here. Let me just shut this off and I'll come back in a second here. Okay, we're back. And we're going to come up and there should be a number of, there's a few pre-war buildings around here. I'm going to kind of check and see if they're still around. There's one right here. There's one right there, in fact. There's quite a number of pre-war buildings in this neighborhood. And this is another one of those. I'll be swinging around right there. That's your copper clad. It's been painted over. There you can see that. That's where I did I'd strip the paint. You know, that's where that should strip that. That's any rate. That's my humble opinion. My humble opinion, but yeah, there's lots of them. They're here. They're all. There's a lot of them here. This has a real older feel to the neighborhood. Yeah, nice. Here's another definitely this is definitely a pre-war. I'm gonna have to swing around, get to the corner so you can get a perspective on it. Okay, maybe we need to go wide angle. So anyway, won't let me do that for some reason. That is a pre-war. Again, that's painted over. The copper there on the upper level there, the second floor, that's definitely a painted over, but that's a pre-war building. These ones are post-war. Those are post-war, but that one is a pre-war. Here's another couple of, here's a block of, those are pre-war blocks, see that? Those are, I think all three of those are pre-war buildings right there. This really is a feel for, you get almost a feel for what the street looked and felt like. That's what I like about this neighborhood. Let me just swing around like this. Even though it's newer, this is one of those neighborhoods where you feel the older city. You really can feel it as you walk around. That feel, not necessarily the architecture, but the feel of the city. Now here we're coming up on a real nice copper clad. There's a very nice on the left here. There you go. There we go. That is copper clad. See that? That's pre-war. That's 1920s era. That's one of the really pretty well preserved house. Pre-war copper clad house. Probably the one on the left here is also copper clad, but it's got this covering on it. So I suspect that underneath it, and that's what you have on a number of these buildings, is underneath you probably have the original architecture is underneath. And here's an interesting example right here. There in the corner there, that's a pre-war building. But you see that, the way the roof line there, that roof line is pre-war. And it's got the metal covering. But that is on the front there is a signboard front. And I suspect that was put on after. That was added to the building, and it would have given it what people would have felt at the time was a modern feel to the building. Let's see. Oh, it's so nice, isn't it? Let's see. Such a nice morning, quiet, nice and quiet. Again, there's another pre-war, and you've got that signboard. This is a very common thing that they did. See right there? There's a line of, let me come here so you can see the light, get in the light here. You'll see that's a pre-war. The whole block there. Most of the block there is pre-war. These are pre-war buildings. You got a lot of them here. This is you can see, you get a good feel for what parts of the city, what part of the neighborhood survived the bombing. But those are definitely, that's definitely pre-war there. You just did not have that style post-war. You know, when people rebuilt, they just rebuilt different. They just did it differently. Let's see. Oh, here's a lovely pre-war. This is a real grand kind of macchia kind of hybrid. A little bit of Kanban Kenchiku, but really a very traditional style. See that? There we go. Look at that. Oh, they got it open there. Upper floors. I wonder if they use it as a house. Isn't that really nice? It's a lovely building there. That's a really special building. And now this is the one next to it is a brand new building. That was being constructed. Let me swing around here. There you go, see that? I think that's a pre-war signboard. I think it's pre-war. There we go. Let me guess. I should look more closely at this one. Confirm this situation here. Yeah, it's pre-war. Let's get in there we go. It's definitely pre-war. But signboard, that would have been added. Some of that was probably added later on that building. But now, you know, I'm going to look for. There's a building that basically is what was interesting about it was that it was basically being held up. A pre-war building that basically was being held up by the building next to it. It was kind of leaning, and I think it's on this block here. I'm just going to come in and check. It might be gone. It's, you know, it's one of these things when I come and I always, either that or I'm walking on the wrong block. That happens too. But I think it's this block. Let's see. They're just getting renovated. I think that's just that's a demolition. That's a demolition. That's all a demolition there. I think I might be going down the wrong block. Sometimes I walk around and I get confused about where I'm at. But I know on the right here, there are a series of pre-war. Here's a nice post-war signboard style. I mean, right there. Yeah, I like that. It's kind of nice. Post-war signboard style is a little bit of the old, you know, they've got that, but the tiling there, the little bit of the old feel in the design, you know, so they're kind of respecting the older design. I think though it's a post-war building. And right here are a few definitely pre-war houses. up on the next block. The next block here, you can see that this is a block that part of the city now. These wider streets, they tend to be, because you can, a wider street here, you can build you're allowed to build higher density, higher buildings, more density. So you're going to tend not to, these buildings might tend to be gone, but we've got a handful of them here that have survived. Interestingly enough. There's one right there. See that house there? Swing around. Sun's, let me get the angle here. There you go. It's a really nice, yeah, look at that. That is, it's pre-war, and it might even be, I would say it could be pre-earthquake even. That's your very machi, a little bit of signboard because it's closer, you know, the design. But you see the copper clad. It's a real nice older building there. And then we come around here. We got the trees are. This is another one, and this could even be. There you go. See that? This is a series of the whole row, a row house of these pre-war. Now, what I'm going to show here, do you see that one? Somebody had the idea. Let me swing there. Now you can see the whole block there. You can see that that on the white there, that's somebody thought that was a great idea. That was the idea. They just didn't think, they looked at this design and said it's old. So they wanted to be modern, so they modernized it. That was what modernization turned out to be. And now you look at it and boy, that's just they're pretty buildings. So that's one of the handful. It's a surviving block of pre-war homes there. So this whole there and that house right there, all pre-war. I'm gonna come up. I think there's on. Is it this corner? No, you gotta go down a ways. One of the ones that I'm looking for is this pre-war building that, as I say, the only reason why it was still it's still standing, if it's still there, is because it was leaning against the building next to it. The building next to it was literally propping the building up, and I'm just trying to find where that building is. And there's another one. I'm looking for another pre-war 1920s era design building. So I think it's on the next block. I could be, you know, again, I could be wrong. I will grant the possibility, but it's around here somewhere. Around here somewhere, a pre-war building. Got the train. Well, see, now I got it at 1. See, along the river, I do it somewhere close to a 2-time magnification, but here, 1-time magnification, it's pretty comfortable, and it's just the, you know, the density of the buildings. And let's see. Okay. This is one of these things where I'm feeling a little bit lost. You know, got to get my You know, I've walked up and down all these blocks. It's just, you know, it's like when you haven't been in a place for, it's been a bit more than a year or so since I've walked in this neighborhood. So, you kind of can forget a few things, exactly where everything is. Exactly where everything is and exactly what's there and all. Then I'll come and then I'll remember it. You know, know all the buildings. I know all the buildings, and it's just exactly where everything is. Sometimes I kind of forget where everything is exactly. Here is. These are post-war, but early post-war block there. You see that? There you go. But definitely the feel of the feel is, it's a it's an old feel. You got these narrow streets. You've preserved the feel of the neighborhood, even though it may have the buildings may have changed. The older buildings are gone, but you don't just erase the feel of a place overnight. And because of the way that stuff gets replaced, how slowly things get replaced, well, you don't just, the feel and the character of a neighborhood can survive. Like here, I think there's a pre-war, I think that's a pre-war building. This one there, it's been all renovated. Might be. Some of these are post-war, but as you see, that kind of cheaper construction material. Yeah. There's some early post-war there. Early post-war. That's a pre-war. See that red one there? That's a pre-war building. Just the design, the use of the way the wood, the angle, the whole thing. We'll get on the front of it and you'll see. You'll be able to see that. Yeah, there you go. That's a pre-war. They still live there. It's a house. That's a house there. And the other one, see that gray one's a pre-war. That's definitely that gray one is a pre-war as well. It's been covered up and all, and might have had a retail. Once it's now the ground floor is used for parking. See, they got this one, the house too. Look at that little, that's a part, how they're using that for parking. Parking space there. There we go. For parking space. The building that I was thinking about is on this street. Late 1920s. Kind of interesting. I think I'm going to stay on this side of the street. That's kind of another neighborhood on the other side there, and this is still Yanagibashi. Is it there? Let's see. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. That's the building I was thinking about. Next corner. Let me just get oriented across the street here. You'll be able to. There it is. See that? That has Fukuoka style, Hataka style of izakaya bar. It says Hataka bar. Hakata? Hakata? Fukuoka, right, that building right there. Magnify that. See that? That kind of style, isn't that kind of interesting? It's like, that's Tokyo. We're in Tokyo. Building like that. So that's, I think, 1928. 1928 era. So Fukuicho. This is Fukuicho Dori. In a street here. You can see these buildings like one here and there, you know. Most of the environment has changed, but there's still the old feel, as I say. The feel of the neighborhood is still there. I'm gonna go this way. Yeah, I don't know why this does it from time to time. Kind of freaks out. I don't know why it did that, but it did. It's okay. Okay. Now, let's see. This is still Asakusabashi, and I think we're gonna go, if I go to the right here, I'm gonna find there's a few pre-war buildings here. Again, these are, you can see those are, let's see, let me just, you know, sometimes I'll come back and look at these buildings and wonder, well, what era is that building there? What era is that? And this one there, I mean, I would say it's post-war. Let me just take another look. I mean, it has that kind of post-war kind of, yeah, I'd say, you know, you've got the dobukuro, the where you put the slide, the dobukuro are it's kind of a post-war style. That particular style right there is kind of more post-war style. So I would say it's a post-war building. Did I say the feel of the block, of these blocks, pre-war, that old feel? I think we want to go, because this is the park. We're going to look at this park and we're going to show you. You'll see we actually walked by this park earlier. It's a little bit after 7:10. You see these kind of parks, this part of the city, very urban, very urban kind of park, you know, with the dirt and the whole, very city park. Tokyo, very city, very urban Tokyo. Park, and it's very urban, very Tokyo neighborhood. Very Tokyo. I would definitely say this is and you'll see, you might recognize some of what, see there's the house there, remember that house there. I'm going to show you this house. I suspect that this was a pre-war house that has been, kind of interesting. I'm going to try to, there's the base of it. Come up, see that? I think it's a pre-war house that has been a lot of renovation. That's my guess, looking at the whole feel of it. Pretty big building. We saw this building earlier. Just swing back around because I wanted to show you. Remember that, to give you a feel of where we are here. There, see that? Remember that pre-war lovely building. As I say, I think it might even be Taito era. Could be Taito. And one of these narrow blocks. Yeah, I just love walking along these older blocks. I showed you this earlier. This is a pre-war block on the left. Most of these buildings, some of it's post-war, but there's a mixture there. Definitely an old Tokyo. This is probably, these streets may be the street pattern from Edo era. I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. There's that copper-clad building there. I think up here I think it's a Taisho era wooden home. I think it's up here on the left, another block or two, if I remember correctly. Just looking around. Let me show you, this is another pre-war. There's nothing particularly interesting about it, but it is pre-war, unmistakably. Let me just show you there. There you go. See that? See that like the use of the wood there? You just don't see that. The whole design, the way the roof faces, the way it faces the street, the whole design. That's pre-war. Use of wood like that. They didn't have wood. There was no wood in the post-war. Unless you were really, really wealthy, you just didn't have wood in the post-war. So let's see. These are a couple of signboard. These are again pre-war. Those are pre-war signboards. You can look behind it. Let me magnify it there and you'll be able to see it. Come up there. Do you see the design, the way the roof slopes? That's the way you tell. Just gonna bring it up there. There, you see that? See the way the roof slants like that? And so you had that pre-war design, and then they put the signboard in front of it. I'll back up and you'll see that. See that? Those are pre-war. And probably the metal covering went on post-war. That might have gone on post-war, but it's definitely pre-war buildings. See that? There's some mixture of pre-war, early post-war signboard. That's actually pre-war. The stone, use of the stone is post-war, but you look behind it, if you look carefully, I'll just hold it there for a second, you can see the wood. It's a pre-war. It's a pre-war design. It's definitely a pre-war design. Now, coming up here on the left is one of the very curious buildings in the whole city. I'd say late 20s, definitely a kind of deco style house. And it's unique. It's a unique style of house. And you'll see it in just a second here. Yeah. Get out of the glare and we'll be able to get a look at it. There we got a little glance of it, but now we'll get here out of the, let's come over here and see it. We'll be able to, there it is. See that? Isn't that a curious piece of architecture? It's kind of a little bit of, almost kind of Bauhaus, little bit of a Bauhaus kind of lines. I think it's 1928, again, late 20s, kind of a real eclectic, with the tile and the, but definitely kind of a deco, but a little bit of Bauhaus kind of influence building. I've never seen anything else like it anywhere in the city. If anybody knows anything, it's anything like it, let me know. Now here we come up on the left, and this is a kind of example of these. There's a signboard there. Do you see the way that could be oh no, it's post-war. I think that's a post-war. That's a post-war building. Yeah, that one right there. See how they put the signboard. It's kind of a pre-war kind of, I don't know, but the line of the roof is post-war. There's a post-war roof line. It's kind of hard to describe what I mean by that, but trust me. Now, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to find a few other buildings that you see. This is your kind of classic post-war Showa retro building. It looks like it's coming down. So I'm glad I came. This is, let's get this on film here, because this building looks like it's coming down. Let me just check to make sure, but yeah, it looks like it is. But that's a Showa, post-war Showa retro style. It was an old soba restaurant. Let's see. Yeah, they would build a residential. Yeah. It's going to happen. They're going to start in November. It's coming down later in the year. It's just life. It's life in the big city, big dynamic city. Let's see. This is one of those things where I just, kind of wander around a bit, because if I haven't walked around the neighborhood for a while, like I haven't, and this has always been a neighborhood that's kind of, it's been hard for, these older buildings are a bit scattered, so gotta look, kind of wander. Usually what I have to do is wander around a bit. I think I'm kind of up, and that's post-war, and I'll tell you why. Post-war signboard, and the reason is, let's bring that up. See that? You see that? That's cinder block. You see, let me just come up here. show you. See that? That's cinder block. That's cinder block. That's post-war. It's just the cheapest material. That was the building material that was available. And that's what you had to use. That's one of the ways that you pretty dead giveaway that it is a post-war, early post-war, 1950s, maybe even late 40s. I don't know, but and they put that signboard style up to give it, and that's probably what you could afford. People, when it was built, it's what they could afford. Let's swing that around. You get that. See that? Do you see? That's like they got the little bit of brick, you put up the facade, but otherwise it's very cheap, very, very cheap construction style. It's like the best that people want to put up you want to put up a good front, and that's kind of what you did in that era. And it kind of get that feel for what a struggle, what a great struggle that it was, that people had to deal with the deprivation in the and hardship that people went through in this country after the early years after the war. The country was destroyed, and let's see, I don't want to go all the way there. Here's another early post-war, nothing special, early post-war signboard out there. There's a couple of really nice buildings, and it's one of those things that I just get disoriented exactly where they are. But on the other hand, I get to wander around, So we're still in Asakusabashi. Still in Asakusabashi. Let's see. I don't think it's this far up. That's what, as I say, what I'm looking for is this old wooden house that I think even Taito era. It was one of my very popular photos on Instagram. So that's one of the reasons why I want to kind of show for people that follow me on Instagram. You'll recognize the house, and I just would love to, as I say, it's you're talking about a large area, and but every time I do it, every time I walk in this neighborhood, I got to go through the same thing. It's a big neighborhood, big complicated neighborhood, and I just want to make sure I keep my eyes open so that when I do stumble across it, I don't miss it. So I'm starting to get thirsty. Let him go. Okay. Okay, come on. It's got to be around here somewhere. Somewhere it's here. There's a post-war kind of show retro, the pink house there. Oh, is that? No. Is it? No. Okay. I'm not going to look forever. It's just starting to get a little bit later. It's getting a little bit warmer. And we'd always come here another time. We'll find it. One of these days, we'll find it, I don't have the time right this moment to just go through the photos and all. I just want to, I'm thinking I'm going to find this stuff. At any rate, you're getting a feel for the whole Asakusabashi neighborhood. They're kind of eclectic. You know, there's definitely an eclectic quality, eclectic feel to the neighborhood. Real mix of stuff, mix of architectural styles and eras and all. I think it's a very special place. Very special place. Now we're coming to this shrine. I think I've gone too far. We're almost back to the train station now. I'd stop and check on the battery's getting low. I think we're getting low on the battery, so I'm gonna stop. Remember there was a city kitty here during this. Let's see if the city kitty is still around. No city kitty. It is a pretty nice little shrine there. And we're going to shut this off and check our battery.